Hey guys, hope you're all doing well. Now for today's video, I wanted to talk about what Steven Spielberg originally had in store for the first Jurassic Park trilogy. As many of you will no doubt know by now, the very first plan for Jurassic Park 2 would have revolved around the setup that the director made in the first movie, where Dennis Nedry's can of embryos is cunningly buried in mud, just waiting for someone to come and retrieve it. But once Michael Crichton's sequel novel took form, all plans for this particular story were put on ice, and the Lost World would take center stage from there on out. Now, during the development process for the second movie, plans were actually already being made for Jurassic Park 3, which of course would have picked up where the second film left off and continued the plot while also pushing it in bold new directions. The information that I'm going to go over next comes directly from two sources. The first source happens to be from a Time magazine article that featured Spielberg from May of 1997, and this article contains the following. The thrust of a Jurassic Park sequel seems simple enough. Get the dinosaurs off of the island to run rampant in a big city, a la King Kong and Godzilla. But Michael Crichton's follow-up to his best-selling novel was less a continuation of the original than a rewrite. It provided just two notions that excited Spielberg: the existence of a secret island where the DNA dinos had been created, and a set piece where a T-Rex tries pushing a trailer off a cliff after its babies are threatened by scientists. In the film, a T-Rex does get off of the island, to San Diego. It was something I was saving for a third Lost World movie, Spielberg confides. When I realized that I would probably leave that directing job to someone else, I selfishly wanted to see the action of a T-Rex stomping down a suburban street, chomping homeowners. In other words, JP3 wasn't really supposed to be dinosaurs on an island. Now, I've mentioned before in the past that I've gotten the chance to read 2 of the 9 drafts for the Lost World Jurassic Park, and in the first version that I read, which is probably the 6th or 7th draft I guess, the big idea was to have the general public going on believing that no dinosaurs exist. However, it turns out that Spielberg's desire to see a dinosaur in suburbia, which by the way was an idea he had way earlier for a sequel in 1995, got the best of him. In a book titled The Films of Steven Spielberg by Douglas Broad, a write-up is done on this exact topic. Now that book contains the following. Up until 3 weeks before shooting commenced, Spielberg planned to save the San Diego sequence for a third film in a planned trilogy. Lost World would end with an extended chase of the heroes by raptors, and, as they fly off in a helicopter towards seeming safety, a surprise attack by flying pterodactyls. Always the savvy businessman, however, Spielberg knew competing filmmakers were already at work on remakes of Godzilla and Mighty Joe Young. Were he to wait, those movies might render his third film irrelevant. Spielberg made sure he got there first. This decision to actually take the T-Rex to San Diego instead of saving an entire movie for dinosaurs in the mainland was met with a lot of negative criticism by contemporary critics, with many citing that they just couldn't get behind the entire concept of the film shifting gears so sharply in the third act. Personally, I've always loved it, but the truth is, this decision did indeed uproot the original plans for the trilogy as a whole. And if you've been watching my channel for a while now, you'll know that I've talked about the production of JP3 extensively. And you'll also know that some of the stuff about the mainland plot they tried to incorporate in the story somehow, with pretty underwhelming results. After Lost World came out to such a lukewarm response, plans were made quickly to take the franchise back to basics and abandon much of what had been advanced in the previous entry. Prerequisites for every story treatment involved Grant somehow getting back to the island, nobody being a survivalist or expert of any kind, and a new big bad dinosaur to replace the T-Rex. Now, what they threw out 5 weeks before filming sounds like it would have been a pretty good marriage of both the plot continuation of what they originally had in mind, along with those prerequisites that I just mentioned. Jurassic Park Breakout would have featured 2 storylines, one on the island involving Grant out of his environment, and the other on the mainland involving dinosaurs that had escaped. But as we all know, that got scrapped, and we just got the first half of that story instead. So to put it in layman's terms, the original plan for the Jurassic Park trilogy was going to be this. 1. Introduce the dinosaurs in the theme park and tell the story of Jurassic Park's demise. 2. reveal the existence of Isla Sorna and show the audience that something has survived. And 3. Bring the surviving dinosaurs to the mainland, attacking suburbia and causing chaos. Interestingly, while this did not play out in the original trilogy as intended, it looks like it actually will get to be the crux of the next Jurassic World movie, which Colin Trevorrow has stated is meant to tie all 6 films together and even make the earlier 2 sequels feel less episodic and more like chapters in the overarching saga. With an entire movie dedicated to dinosaurs mixing in with the modern world and places we've never seen before, I'm honestly really happy to see how the series has progressed. And the fact that we don't have to make up another contrived excuse to get our protagonists back to an island that they openly know is dangerous makes things far less convoluted as well. How all of this plays out, we're going to have to wait and see. But with the information on the original plans for JP3 and the first Jurassic trilogy as a whole being brought back for Jurassic World, I'm glad to see that this plan is finally falling into place. But what do all of you guys think? What are your thoughts on Spielberg's initial plans to save the dinos on the mainland plot for Jurassic Park 3? Do you think he should have stuck with that plan? Or do you think something else? Whatever your own thoughts and opinions happen to be, I'd love to hear them in the comments down below. Now before I go, I'd like to thank all of my game wardens, as well as all of my InGen executives. I'd also like to thank all of my park workers and InGen hunters as well. Guys, it seriously means the world to me that you all even continue to watch these videos, and I want to thank each and every one of you for all of your continued support. Now, I'd like to thank all of you for watching this video and hope you all enjoy today's content. If you feel like I deserve it, I'd appreciate the like and hope that you'll consider subscribing if you're interested in hearing from me again. I'll see you on the next one, guys, and as always, take it easy.